are here, and I was on a delay. I apologize to the audience for having had you on a pause. Today, we're talking about conversations. Conversations you've had, conversations that are in the past and present. So, I want to catch you guys all up to speed on what we've been doing. If you are familiar with a Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast, then you already know that we've been here for quite a while. Have you ever had unfinished conversations? And if so, how did it make you feel? For some of us, you want to know what the conclusion is. It's kind of like watching your favorite show and not having a finale to the season or the final episode. And that's kind of what had happened with us, although we were still going. With what seemed to all of you, or what may have seemed to all of you like we were unfinished. Because I'll tell you something, around here, we are never finished. But unfinished conversations can make you feel like what's going to happen next. So let's start with the conversations we've started. Okay, I think it's really important that we do this because our unfinished conversations are so important. Good morning, Trish.
Good morning.
We're so happy to have you back, and thank you for joining in with me as my co-host this morning. I so appreciate you. So unfinished or finished conversations, some of the conversations we've been having, they're all dealing with your emotions, your feelings, your experience to the emotions, and your healing. At least that's what I'm hoping, that all of you are continuing on what is to be your healing. It's really important. We have a sign that we have put up. It's actually on my office door. And I think it's important that we kind of revisit it so that we won't um, have you guys wondering, well, what happened to this or what happened to that? We're going to show you some things that I think you're going to be quite interested in. And let's get started. We told you that we were set up in our office. We are set up in the Healing Center. Uh, Anytime you want to come to the Healing Center, you're more than welcome to come. Um, Anytime you want to write a letter or donate something, uh, we will take it as long as it's useful for our center. Now, we're dealing with all kinds of people, people that are families, men, women, children. We do crisis intervention. And by the way, I am a certified life coach counselor. And what I want you guys to realize is that you always have a place to come to. Right now, it is in our center located in Palmdale, California, but doesn't mean that you can't get to us. If you feel like you want to do something online with me, then if you want to have a private session, you can do that. If you want to have a group session, you can do that. So we're revisiting for your Monday motivation, and it isn't because we don't have anything, excuse me, to talk about. We want you to realize that this is your public and private reach out, reach up, help, reach in. And we're allowing all of you to do this. Um, we've had some pretty good observations, and I am so proud. Tricia and I have, over the course of time, we have been looking at who's listening to us. Tricia, you remember some of the places that I mentioned that are actually listening to us, even if a small percentage is?
I remember you said Germany,
Mm-hmm.
Bangladesh,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't remember anything else, but those are the two I remember.
Africa. We have so many people that may not be on live with us, but they still listen to us. You know what that tells me? That tells me that many of you may just want to do your own private healing, and that's okay. Because Trish and I, we're in this virtual room all the time, and I'll tell you what, sometimes we think no one is listening, and then when we get off of air, we realize, wow, so such and such, so and so really was listening, and we're so grateful to you. Does that motivate you to start from somewhere, somehow, start your stepping stones for healing? It used to be a time where we were on 5 days a week, every day. Many of you are wondering, are they still live? Yes, we are still live. But we know that healing takes time. We know that to identify and discover and become aware and notice things take time. And 600 plus videos and conversations, whole conversations that we've shared, they can be overwhelming all at once. So we are live, and here's the best way to find us. Continue to click the button as you are new to Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. And when you click notifications to be notified, you're going to see us now. We used to put every detail for you, but we're getting a new look. And Trish, you mentioned that the other day. As time goes on, you become more professional. You want to draw people by what it is that you're saying. So what are we saying? We are talking about a lot of things, and right now I'm in the midst of pulling up some of the things that we have went over. And I want to tell you something as we go over this. I want you to be very aware. And when I say very aware, I want you to think about what it is that you may have been missing. For instance, when we come in conversations, they're always interactive. Why do we do that? Because a lot of people like to talk. And as you know, Trish, I'm one of those people, especially when I'm talking to an audience like we do, Trish. Sometimes I'll tell you, Trish, the meeting's going to be 15 minutes and it ends up an hour. Okay? But we like to talk, and we want to talk to you specifically. Okay? We want to speak with you all specifically. So at any time, you can call our 1-800 number, okay, 888, okay, 721, and the rest is 9260, Trish. 888.
Yes,
Yes,
that's right.
yes, finally got it right. So what are we talking about? Some of the things that we've talked about on our Friday in sessions or group sessions. Friday group sessions, we've talked about um, grief. We've talked about depression. We've talked about coping. We've talked about um, healing. We've talked about challenges. So many things that we have already discussed. We've talked about strategies. We will continue our conversations because we have unfinished conversations. Why do you think that they're unfinished? Because there's so much to talk about. Can you imagine having a friend that has a conversation and every time they talk, they say, I don't have a lot of time, but I'll finish the rest? How do you feel? It's like a cliffhanger, right? So we're not done. We have unfinished conversations. And our Monday motivation is continuing in unfinished conversations. We all want to know what the general ending will be. We've been connecting for 5 years and we are finding new ways. Every day, Trish and I are searching for new ways. She comes up with an idea, we get together. I come up with an idea, we get together, and we both say, how will it benefit us? How are we looking? Who's listening? And our percentage of the male, the human male, the guys, the men, you guys are listening, and we have not forgotten you. We have not forgotten you. We realize that men too have feelings. Men too have things that they don't express, that go unexpressed. But what we must realize is that their expressions do come from that mirror of your soul. So we want to keep you in mind. And so some of our conversations are going to be about male men. We're going to talk about fatherhood, the stresses that they may be having or that you are having. How do you deal with that? Because a lot of podcasts are only dealing with certain things. But because we know that our demographics of male men are changing, you're listening in, we want to accommodate you as well. Vibe Talk always has something to talk about. But we want you to get in the shoes or the space, because if you're like me, I hate wearing shoes. I only wear them because I have to. So for me to get into a comfortable space and to draw me in, I have to be comfortable first. And wherever you are in life, whatever you might be doing, find your space to be able to be comfortable with yourself. You know, we talk about emotions. And emotions are sometimes very challenging to deal with. People don't like to tell you that they feel depressed or they feel hopeless. People don't even like to relate to you good news because, why? They may feel maybe nobody cares. Maybe they've never been able to express that. But we want you to find your space to fit your shoes where you're motivated. If we're doing that around the world and people from countries that we have not heard of are listening, we want more of you locally. And yet, this has connected us. We want you to know that there's so many ways of facing the lion, so many ways of challenging yourself to see the real you, the real purpose. I was talking with someone yesterday, and we were talking about Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. And to try to explain what Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast is one thing. But to be able to show you its work in action is a whole other level. Being a life coach, counselor, is not telling people what to do. Because if any of you are in this business and you are telling people what to do, I'm going to ask you, how do you feel? Number one, I don't have all the answers in the conversations that we've had. Number two is, if I give you all of the answers to our conversations over the years, what is there left for you to do? So we want you to be able to take a risk. R-I-S-K is the word for today. The motivating factor, risk taking. You know, people love to take risks. They will bungee jump at the age of 80. They will swim to the ends of the earth. They will bicycle, walk for marathons. But I want you this day, today, Monday, this motivational Monday, to think about the risk of you taking to be your best self. When it's you that finds all the answers, you that will come to discover, hey, there's another side of me. You to realize that everybody does have an alter ego, but not in the sense that you're used to. You know, you see Bruce Wayne as a male figure, and then you see Batman, who is still Bruce Wayne, but has on the cape. What do you recognize about yourself? You see Peter Parker as Spider-Man, and then you see him in the Spider-Man suit. Did you know that all of us has a superhero? See, many of you are still inquiring, though, but not coming in to find out, what is Vibe Talk? I've heard that before. Do you know people that I've talked to on a daily basis have said they've heard it? Why have they heard about it? Because it's all over the internet. It's everywhere. So when you see it, we'd like for you to say, I know what that is. Even if you're not on the journey of healing, maybe you know somebody that's ready to start, but doesn't know how. Doesn't always apply to you because we realize that it's not everybody's cup of tea. But discovering, have you ever been looking for something, and yet upon looking for something, you discovered something incredible, like taking a walk and finding money? We all like finding money, right? One time I found $40. Literally, I found it. Maybe some of you have found something that you're still holding on to, but you found it. Remember how you felt? You were excited. You didn't walk past it. You were so excited because maybe it was something that you wanted or needed. That's happened. That's like discovering yourself. And the journeys that we've taken along the 5 years that we've been in existence has been one of the most incredible journeys. We don't forget where we've come from. We're thankful to the people that cheered us on, who said, hey, I love what you guys do. Hey, you guys are doing excellent. Your show, I love your episodes. I love your endings, your beginnings. See, in Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast, maybe it has helped you to realize you can and you shall overcome. Overcome depression, though not shorting yourself for the professional help that is there. This is a supplement to you being able to reach in. And while after you look at so many people without judgment, you say, I am so thankful for that podcast. Because we still have a lot of people who are walking around and have not discovered yet that there must be a healing. There needs to be a healing inside of each and every person. Why do I say that? Because everybody that has ever walked the earth besides Jesus Christ has a scar. We've had these conversations, but they are never unfinished. You could tell me right now where your latest wound is, physically. We could talk about your physical wound all day. Met a man the other day who was barely walking. First thing in my mind was, oh, he barely can walk. And come to find out he had knee surgery. I've never had knee surgery, but I've had plenty of surgeries. So I know how that feels. I know the recovery, but never knee surgery. And not ever having knee surgery, yet I felt empathy for the man that my eyes looked upon. Empathy. To know that he was hurting from something. We all have that, ladies and gentlemen. You could call me all day to explain to me. Oh, I don't really have it, but let me spend 10 minutes with you. Give or take 5. You've had a wound. But what I want to ask you about your wound, has it went untouched. You don't talk about it. Nobody talks about it. But they know it's there. It's the elephant in the room that no one wants to discuss, so that is unfinished conversations. And yet, because you don't talk about it, no one has to know. Does that mean you're the spiller of all secrets? You don't have to be. But how are you doing with that unfinished part of yourself? Like the conversations, like the cliffhangers. You got a favorite show. And by the way, some of the shows that we have loved and liked over the years have just went away with no explanation. Have you found yourself saying, whatever happened to that? Right? Whatever happened to that? It's like an unfinished conversation. So we ask you, whatever happened about that time? And you say, I forgot about that. Just like the scar that is physically on you, and people ask, what happened? You now need to ask yourself, what happened? Sometimes because we don't finish a conversation or we don't start one up, we start to search our brain. Our brain plays things back over and over like a recorder. And then you start to gather up information that you never chose to talk about. Why? Only you could draw the circle and put why you never talked about it. Shame, guilt, fear, embarrassment, judgment. But the unfinished conversations are the most important to the cliffhanger or to the finale. Does that mean the end of a show? No, sometimes we know in TV world, once you've got the cliffhanger to something that you've been watching, it comes back and you say, wow, that ending was a great beginning for a season next time. See, our world is like that. Seasons. Literally, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but the seasons of life. You have winter, spring, summer, fall. Does anybody notice it? If it is hot where you are right now, you realize this is the season of the summer. How would you draw the picture of a season of the summer to let me know it was hot? Or winter, it was cold, was dreary, things were dying off. But even in the depth of winter, we find that life, that part of us, dies off to get ready for the next seasons of our lifetimes. Spring, we cut ourselves off during winter. We try to stay warm because it's so cold. But spring, everything comes alive again, right? And it'll continue to go through that cycle to let you know that these are seasons of change and times of life in your lifetime and in my lifetime. I've heard people say, wow, it was a really great winter. Or wow, when I go back to Utah, I always hear people say, yeah, our winters were very icy and cold, and the water melts off, and the spring comes, and you look in their lake, and there's springs, and you see the remedy of what was death of winter. Here in the desert, excuse me, where I live, if you can imagine a desert, you know, sometimes they have deja vus of uh, characters that are walking in the death of winter and they're sweating. I'm thinking of Daffy Duck for some reason. I guess because I used to watch the Bugs Bunny and Friends show. I don't know, but Daffy Duck is in my mind, and here he is sweating and he's walking, and then he gets a vision of water, that deja vu, when really there is no water because he's so hot and he's thirsty. Well, that's what our deserts are like here in Palmdale, California. The Arizona deserts are beautiful. Wherever else you may live in the deserts may be beautiful. But that's exactly what it looks like. What do you do about your change of circumstances while you're in a circumstance? You want to hurry it along, right? You want to get to the unfinished business. Why is this happening? What should I do about it? Because you know what? It's not always in an emergency that we have to stay ready or get ready. It's everyday life to stay ready. How many of us have heard that? And Trish, you can jump in at any time. See, we have unfinished conversations with ourselves. We go out, we carry on in life every day, the hustle and bustle, but when it quiets down in life, the difference between night and day is noticeable. Have you noticed? Nighttime for me is a sobering thought because I know that things are going to get quiet. I'm going to be able to go to sleep. That is, if I discover that I can do something about what I'm worried about. And if I can do nothing about it, I need to learn how to manage that so that I can rest. Are you following me thus far? You know, we think about unfinished things and we say, I'll get to it. How many of you have put yourselves off like you do house cleaning or cleaning up your room? Yeah, that's right. I want you to sit and think about it for a minute, for a moment. Stop putting yourself off. What is it that you need to do? Going back to Daffy Duck and the barrage of him in the hot desert, only to find out there was no water. Yet, what you saw him do every time was keep going, keep going. And I've saw that probably more than twice in my life. I don't know why I brought it up, but if it fits, well, wear the Cinderella slipper. If it fits in your lifetime, what does that tell us? That's a character. And by the way, they're not real characters. But what do we learn from it? You know, we may think that there's a season in our lifetime that we just can't finish it. We want to hurry it along, I should say. But did you know that each season takes time? Some seem faster than others. I promise you, it was just winter. Now we're in summer. And so as our seasons of life pass along, we start to think, okay, this is what I have for the next thing. Even in here, Trish and I, we've really thought about it. Wow, 5 whole years went by. And here we are, December, getting ready for our new year. And many of you who have followed us, who listened to us, you're waiting for the next thing to happen. And so going back to our conversations that are unfinished doesn't mean we haven't one time. We find new ways to be able to appeal to you. Our group sessions, sit and talk about it without having to expel all your private business, because that's not what we're about. We are really intentionally trying to help you. It's intentional help. So if you know of anybody, and I mean anybody, that wants to come in and be a guest speaker, we'd love to have you do that. We want people who are experienced, who are involved with changing their communities. Because it's so wonderful, right, to be able to talk about all the bad stuff, because it makes you know and keeps you aware. And people thrive off of the negative. But to know that there is something positive that happens right near you, what a joy it is to be able to know and say, wow, that's a really great thing. You've seen Vibe Talk take a turn for the better. We started out, we knew our mission, but it just got better because we fit the shoes. We make time to be comfortable in our chairs. So our conversations, and we've had a lot of conversations. Boy, have we ever. I'd like for you, if you're listening now, to go to YouTube, and we're going to find out from you, or let you be motivated by some of the conversations that both Trish and I have had with you all. Get ready, because they have been some really amazing topics. Amazing topics. And we are on YouTube. And if you see a QR code, that's to help you, let's say, if we're out of the office for any reason.
Come unwind with the Healing Center, a place where we feel thrilled to heal. Affiliated with Vibe Talk Facethelion podcast.
Hi guys, I'm back. Yes, I am. And we were discussing about unfinished conversations, and um that's something that we love to do. Some of us love to have unfinished conversations because we're afraid of what things will turn into. Whether someone will get mad at the end of the conversation, or we won't be talking anymore at the end of the conversation, or the conversation is getting a little too deep and we don't want to dive deeply into that conversation or topic. I've been there before. And the funny thing about that is when we don't finish the conversation, it somehow pops up out of nowhere. Like it's like a jack in the box. You think that if I don't turn the jack in the box, then nobody else will turn it so it can make the popping sound because I'm scared of the popping sound. But all of a sudden, when you leave it on the table, someone else turns it and boom, it pops out. Well, that's how it is with things we don't want to talk about. Things that we rather sweep under the rug or pretend it's not there. But FYI, everyone, if you don't like sweeping the floor and you sweep the dirt under the rug a lot of times, you're going to start to see the little hill, the little lump that you keep sweeping the dirt under the rug. You're going to start to see that, the imprint of that. And then when you lift up the rug to finally, let me vacuum, guys. Let me stop being lazy and sweeping everything under the rug when I could just get the dustpan, you know? We could just get the dustpan. But sometimes we're too lazy to do that. Okay? We lift the rug up and we see all the trash. Oreo wrapper, honey bun wrapper. We got envelope from the bill, past due. Yeah, that's under the rug too. We got your son's toy, your 2-year-old son's toy under the rug. We got just anything, bottle cap. Like, we have a lot of stuff under the rug that we've been burying under there. And it's starting to pile up. It's starting to leak out. It's starting to be noticeable. And when it starts to get noticeable, for me, when it starts to get noticeable, I feel like that's the time to start having that conversation. And we don't gotta have the conversation in one sitting. We don't gotta do that because, like our podcast, we usually have part 1, part 2, and for my Trisha's Treasures, sometimes I have part 1, part 2, or a continuation of the topic because there's so much to talk about. There's so much that's within me that I've experienced in one topic that I feel like I can't do in one sitting, in one video. So I gotta make it part 1 and part 2. And besides, it's easier for me because I have to edit this later. And so, because I have to edit it later, I make it to part 1 and part 2. I don't leave you guys hanging, okay? So, I say all that to say, unfinished conversations can be a normality for some people because it's hard to get to that problem, get to the root of that challenge. It's hard to do that. Sometimes we're not even motivated to have that conversation. It's Motivational Monday, by the way. Sometimes we're not motivated to have that conversation because, oh my goodness, I know what's gonna happen. We're gonna get into an argument. He's gonna walk off. I'm gonna stay here. We stop talking to each other for like 6 months. Then all of a sudden we start to miss each other. And then we continue the cycle again and never talk about the topic again. To me, that doesn't solve the problem. That doesn't solve the issue. And we continue to do that because of fear of the outcome, exhaustion of repeating the same cycle of unfinished conversation. We never finish the thing. We never finish the conversation because the same thing always happens. So we just stop having it, you know? But whoever this relates to, conversations can be finished. It seems like it will never end, but it can be finished. It can be addressed. It can be resolved. There is a solution for every conflict. And sometimes the answer is not what we're looking for, but it is indeed the answer. So, in closing, thank you for listening to My Trish's Treasures. Thank you for listening to our podcast on Motivational Monday on unfinished and finished conversations. And we'll see you in the next one. Have a good day.
Because I don't want you just to make a resolution. I want you to think about commitment.
I was really about to lose it, then I got the vibe with it. I really took my time with it. I really love the ride with it. For real, really got the vibe with it. I took my time with it.